WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, X, and our website, www.wvtcdetroit.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users.
The views and opinions expressed on this broadcast are those of the authors and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of WVTC Radio Detroit, its advertisers, or affiliates.
It's time. It's time. It's time for the wake-up call, y'all. Come on. Come on.
Yeah,
Come on.
it's time for the wake-up call with Reverend Horace Sheffield and friends. Each and every Saturday from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on the WVTC Detroit Radio Network.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's time. He's on the line. This is knowledge and power for every mankind. For every generation that's in these streets. We making sure you ain't walking in your sleep. We're in your town, your city and community. Promoting good health, wealth, and unity. We educating everybody, y'all. Reverend Horace Sheffield, the wake-up call. It's for y'all. It's for y'all. Reverend Horace Sheffield, the wake-up call. It's for y'all. It's for y'all. Reverend Horace Sheffield.
And now, Reverend Horace Sheffield.
On today, and before we get started, we want to start off with a quick word of prayer. Really quick. Everybody bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord God, for this great day. We thank you for another opportunity to be here in the land of the living. We thank you for all the things that you've done for us in the past, the things that you're doing for us now, the things that you're going to do for us in the future. In Jesus' name, we everybody say, amen. All right, let's get it going. Ed, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, man, I got to let the audience know.
Tell them, Captain.
Boy, I hit me a lick yesterday. And you got to be old school to understand what hitting a lick is. But
how was it?
I bought me a boat.
Uh-oh.
Boy, I'm a captain of my own ship. I'm ready to sail the 7 seas.
All right,
I'm
Reverend.
taking applications for a first mate. That's right, you got to be qualified. Come with good references.
Right.
Don't come in here trying to learn because it'll be too late when you come aboard. Boy, look at it. Almost got me preaching.
Sounds like
That's how
you're
them preachers do. They turn from side to side. They change their cadence. They start breathing. Woo!
All right,
Brother Sheffield, you gonna have to stay on this show because I'm getting ready to go all the way live. I'm turning back into the old head. I'm going back to the end of the day. I'm telling everybody I'm back.
All right, Ed had his shot this morning. Ed doing good. All right, y'all, we got a good show on today. We got Mark Jones and James Rydell's going to give us our sports report, talking about the Lions, college football, and Pistons, etc. We got Jason in the audience. If y'all come on down here, he's here with his mask on.
I told him.
As we are celebrating our.
I told him that should be his regular attire. He needs to get a tattoo on his face because he look better.
Ed is on the road
I'm
today.
glad this camera don't turn around because we be banned.
All right, and we also have Dr. Natasha Bagdasarian, the Chief Medical Executive for Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. Going to be talking about COVID, vaccine updates, importance of getting a flu shot, health screenings, high blood pressure, diabetes, and other health maladies, thank you, facing Michigan citizens. So again, we're going to have a good show on today. We only got an hour. We're going to get to it. Let's put our hands together, have our producer back in the building. Gerald Smith is here.
Welcome back, Gerald. Welcome back.
Happy to have him back. We want to keep Stephanie Bennett's family in prayers. They lost their grandfather yesterday, and they buried him yesterday. And if you are in the vicinity in the area of Grand River, Wyoming, we got biscuits, grits, and
salmon croquettes
for the $5 finger discount, free 99. That's FREE 99. Come on down, eat and enjoy yourself. Get this information and fellowship with some folks here in the community. By way of announcement, today, everybody say today.
Today
We have our Happy Halloween Eve trick or treat. And that is starting at 1 p.m. here on the lot. That's our annual Halloween Eve program. We have free candy and a haunted house, pumpkin bounce house, Smiley the Hip Hop Clown, game trucks. And this is actually free. We do also have some free health screening going on. And you can call 491-0333 or 491-0333 or just come today. That's today at 1 o'clock. Bring your kids. It's something that we do every year, our commitment to doing things in the community. Also, we have here by announcement the DEA National Take Back. It's drop-off Saturday, October 28th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we don't have any locations on here. You're supposed to be able to scan it, but it looks like, okay, 2nd Precinct, or you can go to Detroit or Highland Park Take Back sites. I'm assuming that's going to be at Highland Park Police or the 2nd Precinct, which is here off of Grand River and Schaefer. We also have, by way of announcement, Ed, you want to talk about the skilled trades program?
Well, you know what? First, we're gonna touch on this WAVE project.
Yes, sir.
Because that's something that's very, I'm gonna say very necessary in our community, because we do have a lot of residents that, their water's been cut off, and it's not right. That should be something that we all are giving at a very reasonable rate.
Yes,
because
sir.
I understand they got to pay.
Yes,
but
sir.
it shouldn't be a project that's being profited off of. I'm making that assumption now. So don't go run and say Ed said, because it's an assumption. I'm letting you know ahead of time. So include that word Ed assume.
Ed, I thought your name for the day was Captain. We're going to go with Captain, we're going to go with Ed.
Well, let's tell you what it is now, because, I got different names for different games. So we're going to talk about this WAVE project. Now, every Monday here at Dabo, from 8:30 to 10 o'clock, you can get a hot shower. Now, for those who've had their water cut off or their hot water heater done went out, and it's getting real chilly outside, cold water is a little bit colder this time of the year. You can get a hot shower here at Dabo, and along with that shower, for those that are really necessary, and it is a good thing to do, we have underwear, socks, and T-shirts. Because flipping them over inside out or putting them on backwards don't work.
All right,
Get you some fresh ones. But
right.
Those are available every Monday here on the corner of Grand River and Wyoming.
Skilled trades.
Along with that, we do have a skilled trades program still going on. We got these young people. We got some young people, and I've heard it myself firsthand, that don't even wish to go to college. But you can, no, that ain't nothing funny. That's their choice, though. But here we got programs that will teach you about welding, getting your CDL, being a commercial driver, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, or HVAC, learning about the construction trades, or even being an entrepreneur. We do have some scholarships available. There's tuition free in most cases. And, coming out of those skilled trades, you make a whole lot more than teachers make. I'm just letting you know. You don't have to go to college to make a living. But we advise it because knowledge is power.
All right, Ed, thanks. We also have on...
Oh, excuse me. Call 491-004. 491-0004, and ask for Aaron Truitt. Aaron Truitt.
All right, we have our free vaccination day that's going to take place Saturday, November 4th, 8 p.m. to 12 p.m. That's actually next Saturday, and we want you to come out and get the free vaccinations. We got COVID-19, flu, shingles, pneumonia, RSV. That's in partnership with Choose Healthy Life, Walgreens, and Premier Healthcare. For more information, again, you can call 313-491-0003. By way of announcement, also, we have our Community Empowerment Series. That will be taking place November 8th. We have Keith Ellison, Minnesota Attorney General, and lead prosecutor in the George Floyd case. We're going to be talking about breaking the wheel, ending the cycle of police violence. That's on November 8th, Wednesday, at the Bridge Center, 9928 Grand River Avenue. That's at the Bridge Center, 9928 Grand River Avenue, starting promptly at 6 p.m. On November 17th, Friday, November 17th, as Dabo has been selected as one of the finalists for the Robert Woods Johnson Culture of Health Prize Awards, we will be having a concert and award announcement on November 17th at 7 p.m. Our special guest will be Harold Melvin's Blue Notes. If you don't know, I'll write it down. Somebody tell me to write it down.
All I can tell you, if you had a little game, you had a copy of Harold Melvin in your repertoire.
So we want you to come out and call, actually, because these seats are limited. So call for more information, 313-491-0003. And or you can go to DaboDetroitInc.com. That's DaboDetroitInc.com. Join us live, too. We'll be here on Wednesday, November 29th, We'll be have some special guests here on our free vaccination day, starting at 6 a.m. We have free breakfast here while supplies last, of course, right here on the corner of Grand River, Wyoming, 12048 Grand River. Make sure you bring your insurance card for the vaccines, okay? If you don't have insurance, you can still come, but we want you to come. And again, those available vaccines are going to be COVID-19, flu, shingles, pneumonia, RSV. And again, this is in partnership with Choose Healthy Life, Walgreens, and Premier Health. Getting through these announcements. We also have on our community empowerment series, we have Jamal Bryant, Dr. Jamal Bryant, pastor New Birth in Atlanta, Georgia. He'll be here talking about where is the church in all of this, all of the social and community concerns that we have. What's the church's position? He'll be speaking on that on December 13th at 6 p.m. Again, that's at the Bridge Center, 9928 Grand River. And finally, on December 20th, we will have Mike Epps, comedian, actor, producer. He'll be talking about This Ain't No Joke. He'll be our guest at the Bridge Center, December 20th, 2023, 6 p.m., 9928 Grand River. And what we want you to do is we want you to bring a toy or a gift for a child. And it's going to be sponsored by Priority Innovative and Priority Business, as well as Detroit Pistons. Again, we want you to RSVP for this particular event at Detroit Dabo, Detroit at eventbrite.com. And for more information about this and other things that we have going on, give us a call here at 313-491-0003, 313-491-0003. Oh, also, for those that are in need of food, ladies and gentlemen, we talked about the water and things of that nature, but there's a lot of times, especially around the holidays, people need food. We are helping with our basic needs department and our Dabo Young Adults, as well as Choose Healthy Life. We distribute food for those, somebody say, in need. If you got some food and all that stuff, we don't need you going home, put them in your extra freezers and all that stuff. We want you to be a blessing to those who need the food. We do it every month, every fourth Friday from 12 to 2 p.m. right here at the Dabo Center. And again, you can call. Y'all should know this number by heart, 491
0003.
0003. All right, we're going to get on with the show. We are good. We are right where we need to be. We got our sports information specialist here going to get us going on what's going on in sports. And again, if you want to be a part of this conversation, give us a call at 313-340-9507, 313-340-9507. I don't care about no sports take. I don't care about none of that, no skip and all that stuff. We got Mark and James up in the place.
What's up? What's up, everybody?
Hey.
It's good to be here, bright and early.
Good. So let's start with the Lions, man. Let's start on a high note.
Before we start with the Lions, though, I'd like to say Keith Ellison is a UAD Cub. We went to school with him, and we're glad to see him when he gets back. And he's a really good friend of ours. And another good friend of ours, Scott Perry, who was the general manager of the Knicks, another Cub, is now going to be on ESPN. So watch him. He's from Detroit. He loves Detroit. And he's a part of Detroit. So let's watch him on Detroit on ESPN. And I think everybody should watch it because, he was involved in helping St. Cecilia for 15 years. He did a lot with the high school sports. And high school sports in Detroit helped make him who he is. So let's watch him because, again, he is part of the city. And everybody knows him from UAD High.
All right, Detroit doing big things all over the country. All right, so can we talk about the Lions now? Everybody want to talk about the Lions. That's the new America's team.
Lions. Now look. I'm gonna say Lions are great. They got a chance to go to the Super Bowl. They are one of the top 3 to 5 teams in football. Top team. They had a little blip on the screen the other day. But if the guy can coach, and I've said this the whole time,
here we go.
the missing link is the coach, Campbell. We've got to watch him. I like some of the things he said. He's not looking at the trade deadline because he doesn't want to mess up the chemistry. But that's up to a coach not to let them get blown out like that. And when you see that happen, he didn't have them ready. But I think that because they like him, because they want to play for him, because he is a player's coach, I think they're going to rebound Sunday night, and they'll be all right.
Monday night.
Monday night.
James.
No.
Hey, security, we're going to have to put Jason out. He don't get control of himself. Go ahead, James.
You know, we say this, the Lions are 5-2. There are 11 teams that have won 6 and 5 games. Every one of those teams has a game that they should not have lost. You look at Miami, for example. They scored 70 points one week. Next week, they can't score 20. So you're going to have ups and downs in the season. I think at the midway point, I had them 6-2, and it looks like that's right where they'll be if they beat the Las Vegas Raiders. But I think one thing that you've seen that you haven't seen in a long time is the spirit of these Detroit Lions. They're coming out to play. Now, that was a blip on Sunday, but I think they'll recover.
Yeah, and I guess, you know, Mark has been critical, consistently critical, constructively critical of
Thank you.
of Coach Campbell, and so my question is, you said that the players will play for him. Don't you think that's significant?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And that's why I think they're going to come back. They're going to overcome some of his shortcomings that he has, and he's learning as he goes. And he's not as bad as he once was. Yeah. So that's a positive.
And I can't say that them getting blown out was totally his fault. I mean,
no, but he has a part to play in it, just like they do.
He's playing with his
now.
5th cornerback.
Not only that though, James. I mean, he has a supporting cast too. Now, every other week we're talking about how great the defensive coordinator is. We're talking about how great his offensive coordinator is. And plays. I mean, they were there when they got blown out.
Don't
too.
you guys see though? It does when you get blown out 38-6 or whatever it was. It does demonstrate that there's some problems and weaknesses on the team.
Well,
the further you get down to the close to the playoffs or in the playoffs, it's going to show.
Get exposed. All right, we got a question. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, just to Mr. Jones and Coach. You know, the Lions, you know, they got beat, right? But I think at this, you know, they needed to, you know, because they have been whooping butts, and so they can get a wake-up call. And, you know, to me, I was watching the game, and it seemed like those receivers was wide open, and I think it was because the linebackers was pressing, instead of going back, they was pressing up. And they would be wide open. And then let's face it, Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson. He ain't that easy.
But I got to ask a question. Why, if you keep winning, why you need a wake-up call? What you need to wake up to?
Again, everybody needs a wake-up call.
No, you don't.
No one is going 17-0.
But you don't need a wake-up call when you get put out the building.
You playing Lamar Jackson.
Come on.
Arguably one of the top 3 quarterbacks, MVP, with your 5th cornerback.
And I'm going to say this too.
And you don't have your stud.
I'll just go back to this. Any given Sunday.
Yes.
Any given Sunday.
I'm rooting for the Lions. I'm a Lions fan, and I hope they go to the Super Bowl, but I'm not letting them off the hook. Come on.
Yeah, we need to hold them accountable.
They played terribly, and they can't be let off the hook. They stunk up the joint.
San Francisco has lost 2 straight games.
I ain't talking about San Francisco. I'm talking about the Lions.
Are you holding them to a different standard?
Yes, because I don't care about them.
Hey, listen. All right. 313-340-9507. While we're talking about football, I really want to ask you a question about Ed. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Ed.
Let's get to reality. I'm a long-time Detroiter. Watching the Lions for years. In fact, longer than a whole lot of people have been here. Now, football, like anything in life, you can't look beyond your next step.
Nope.
Or you walking. So I hear you talking about, they going to the Super Bowl. They got to win this week first. So what I'm saying that to say, and the best way I can put it, don't say you'll be downtown without crossing the street first.
Right.
You got to get to the next step first. You can't just run and go down there. A little kid got to take the first step before they can walk.
All right, Captain.
All right, so it'd be fine to get there, but believe me, when I saw what happened this past week, I had visions of the Lions singing "Another One Bites the Dust." That video.
All right.
They will let you know at that point.
Muhammad Ali said you got a dream, and if your dreams don't scare you, you ain't dreaming big enough. So that's what I'm doing.
And that's my point.
Well,
Hey.
Too many people ain't scared. They dreaming. They ain't scared when they wake up.
So
I'ma get there.
speaking of wake up calls and humble pie and things of that nature, let's go to college football. I got one point I want to talk about. So let's talk about Colorado. Then I'm gonna talk about us for a second. So that Stanford loss was humbling, and I'm gonna tell you why. This is one reason why I do like, one of many reasons why I like Deion Sanders. So Stephen A. Smith got on the radio and said, they stunk up the joke. They was absolutely ridiculous. They was horrible, blah, blah, blah. And so they asked Deion Sanders to respond to Stephen A. Smith. He said, yeah, he right. All right, so let's move on.
See?
He said, he absolutely right. And I'm saying, I think it's that type of humility and focus. And again, he's a consummate professional as it relates to football and things like that. But his perspective on things is so matter of fact, and you just don't expect that. You expect people to go, tit for tat for that. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, our new can't get right team. Every time we think they're out of the woods, something else happens. What's going on with University of Michigan, man?
It hurts me, man, to see that happening. Michigan has been a squeaky clean football program, as we know. And some things are happening. I think it's just the people trying to get rid of Harbaugh. I don't really care about that scouting. Everybody does it. Everybody says, I don't care about that in-person scouting. What are they really trying to make a mountain out of a molehill? Come on, guys. Let's get back to football. Let's concentrate on the game. Ohio State and others are happy to see this happening to the school. But let's stay focused, Michigan. Because this may be the year that you win the national championship.
It didn't look like it affected them against Michigan State.
So I'm going to tell you from somebody who's played football for years. Even going back to high school, one of our assistant coaches, the only one, matter of fact, would go to the other team's practice and film them. They've been doing this for years. But in football, I don't care if you know what I'm doing. It's up to you to stop what I'm doing.
Yes.
And you don't have that split second is real quick when you trying to get their signal and relay it to your team.
Everybody knew what Vince Lombardi was doing, but he used to say, I'm going to keep running it
until you stop.
Because we got perfect. We're going to run it to perfection.
Well, I'm going to go back to Deion again. Deion said, if this were baseball where you knew a curveball was coming, you got me. But 11 on 11, you still had to stop that play.
Yeah.
Now, I will interject this into this. I got this off of Awful Announcing, that there is a Michigan booster that is leaking a lot of this stuff out. And his name is Jim Stapleton.
So why is he doing that?
Well, he's got a beef with Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, okay.
He was one of the one. He's everywhere. He was on the board of trustees of the Minnesota Vikings, so he badmouthed him when he interviewed there. Yeah. He actually is on the infractions committee now, and he is the one that is doing this. John Bacon, who is a Michigan historian, shared the belief that he's got an ongoing beef with Harbaugh, and he wants to get rid of him. He also was the one who was instrumental in getting rid of Rich Rodriguez. So, this guy has a beef, and he's got power, and he's going to use it any way he can to get rid of Harbaugh.
Well, you know what? People like that are really, it's not who they're focusing on. The person they need to focus on is themselves. They're not happy with themselves.
Exactly.
Boy, hey, Captain come with all the wisdom already. Like, you all been on the boat, already getting all this.
I ain't been on the boat. You just got off the boat. That's what happened. That's what's happening. You just got off the boat.
You got all this insightful wisdom and everything. Man, it's all clairvoyant. Come on, Captain.
How you think you get to live as long as I have without doing something? You got to understand and appreciate the lessons that you're taught in life.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's right. And if you don't recognize those lessons, you haven't learned a doggone thing.
But let me also say, though, about the Michigan thing. That guy, he's a rogue. He was a volunteer. Mostly, you were telling me this morning, Jim, that he's a volunteer.
He's mostly a volunteer coach. I think he's an analyst now, which is a non-coaching position.
And his parents are wealthy, and he was bankrolling this himself, is what they're saying.
He a naval grad.
He kind of sounds like number 45.
And he was bankrolling this himself. He had student interns around that were involved. He had a budget that he put away. This does not have to be Michigan. This does not have to be Harbaugh. And the truth will come out. I just hope that it doesn't, this scandal doesn't harm the university. I hope it doesn't harm Michigan football going forward. We got a good thing going, and I love to watch a winning program every Saturday. Michigan State's not there right now, but Michigan is. Let's hope this doesn't hurt.
Michigan State. Not only that, they're hurting not only their football program, but their whole school is suffering from some of the stuff that's going on there. I actually pray for Michigan State, but between what happened a couple years ago with the gunmen, and then it's just bad up at Michigan State. Nassar, all that stuff. They really can't get right. So let's talk about some basketball. Pistons. What you got to say about them,
Jim?
I noticed a change since the new coach has come in. They seem to be playing more together. They lost to Miami by 1. They, had a shot at the end of the game, missed it. Last night, they came out and beat Charlotte by 12. Some highlights. Cade Cunningham looks finally healthy.
Okay, so he's back then.
He had 30 and 9 in the first game.
30 and 9, played like a pro.
Wow, good.
I think Jaden Ivey last night, it looked like he adjusted to his role off the bench, coming off, giving instant offense. Killian Hayes is not looking bad.
Now we didn't get his. That's the one we didn't get his contract done. Right, so he's going to have to play through it.
Yeah, no, they weren't going to extend him.
Okay.
Now after this year, if he has a good year, and
now I'm gonna tell you who I'm impressed with, and it's not the Pistons though. That's
the Frenchman.
Oh my goodness,
Victor Wembanyama.
That boy, he the cheat code, Cap. He nice, man. He nice.
He is.
I thought Dirk was one of those virtuoso big men. This guy is phenomenal.
He's everything that they said he was.
Man, 7'5"? Mm-hmm. Got handles and stuff. I said, man, this guy is awesome. I was trying to find out where I could watch all of the Spurs games. Go ahead, Cap.
Hey, did you see when he blocked Wiggins' 3-point attempt?
I seen him block somebody's shot. Back down.
Look here. He blocked the shot. Wiggins for San Fran was shooting a 3. And that boy jumped out the gym and took that stuff out the I can't say the word I'm going to say. Took it out there.
Right. So I think basketball is going to be good. A lot of times people don't like watching until it gets competitive. But speaking of some of the changes that's happened in the NBA, they got the play-in now. You guys got anything on the play-in? Not the play-in, but the in-season tournament. What is it called?
In-season tournament,
Yeah, I'm personally waiting to see how that works out for the NBA. I don't know if I care about that, but hey,
Mark old school boy, Mark and Ed, y'all. That's like I don't know.
I don't know, man. I'm just waiting to see, but they must know what they're doing. It seems that they want a little bit of college, the NCAA tournament, in there, and to make something relevant during the year. But
to make some more money.
Yep.
More games equal more money.
Who cares? But
that's what it's about. The bottom line.
They're not actually playing more games. It's just one more game by the two teams in the championship.
How much do you think is made off of one game?
Oh no, they're gonna make some money.
Right.
But the question is, who cares that they're having an end? What does it mean? It means nothing.
It means something to the fans. They're reaching in their pocket.
Yeah, and I think also too with that the fact that all the sports gambling and all that stuff is real significant now, kind of plays a role in all that. So, but yeah, we really appreciate Mark and James for coming on. So guys, why don't you tell us in this last couple minutes we have some significant things about sports, things that you want to lift up. Of course, tomorrow night we know that. Monday night we know that the Lions will be hosting here. So everybody tune in and enjoy. Detroit will be on display, things of that nature. So why don't you guys share these last minutes or so?
The Red Wings are looking good. I think they're about 4-2. They're starting out strong. They have a new coach. So the Detroit sports scene and the Tigers. The Tigers, they made a key acquisition this week in hiring Chip Lawrence. You might not have heard of him, but he's a young man, African American, that is big in finding Latin baseball players. And I think that's going to make a difference down the road. He worked for the Padres. He's done good things for them. So I think, keep that in mind. So I think all 4 Detroit sports teams are on the up.
Last night I went to see boxing at the DAC, and I saw the Air Force, Army, and Navy fight, and it was great. So I'd like to come on in the future and talk a little bit about upcoming boxing events that are coming and have a little fun with that. I know the city of Detroit has historically been a huge boxing city. And I'd like to talk about that and maybe bring it back, some excitement back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're up against a break. Let's put our hands together for James and Mark as they come in on the show. And we're going to take this break. We'll see you on the other side of the break. We'll be right back.
Y'all, it's for y'all, Reverend Horace Sheffield and the Wake Up Call.
It's the Wake Up Call with Reverend Horace Sheffield. We'll be right back on WVTC Radio Detroit.
Hi, I'm Stacy Reeves, General Supervisor for DTE. As part of our plan to make your power more reliable, we're installing new smart technology. When it's up and running, our smart grid will have fewer and shorter power interruptions. Our crews are out every day doing everything in their power to deliver the reliability you deserve. DTE.
Hey, this is City Council President Mary Sheffield. I get my Saturday morning wake-up call from my dad, Reverend Horace Sheffield.
What up, though? It's your girl T-Barb, and I get my morning call with Reverend Sheffield. Make sure y'all tune in every Saturday morning. It's good.
Every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. on 1500 AM or 92.7 FM. The wake-up call to the Reverend Horace Sheffield.
Welcome, Judge Mathis. Thanks for coming to share an important message with the Wayne County taxpayers.
Well, thank you for allowing me to help. Most of my life I was a resident of Wayne County, and so I'm here to help because Treasurer Chabris wants to work with Wayne County homeowners to keep families in their homes and prevent foreclosure.
If you're having trouble making your property tax payments, let us know. We have many resources to help.
Already in the payment plan? It's important you stay in good standing.
Making property tax payments is now easier than ever. We have placed payment kiosks in community centers across the county. We've also added kiosks in our offices. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com.
And remember, stay safe, save time, make your appointments and payments online.
At the Detroit Water and Sewerage Department, we're working hard to protect pipes by cleaning public sewer lines to reduce flooding and speeding up the replacement of lead service lines. Protect your pipes with 3 easy tips. Pour grease into containers, toss wipes in the trash can, and check for running toilets, leaky pipes, and dripping faucets. For more tips, go to detroitmi.gov/protect pipes. DWSD, working hard to protect pipes for you.
Peace and quiet. Whoever you are, sooner or later, you're going to need some. If only there was a beautiful place just minutes from where you live, where you'll find a perfect little piece of peace and quiet. Turns out there is. Your Huron-Clinton Metro Parks. With 25,000 acres, there's plenty of peace and quiet to go around. They're your Metro Parks. Come see what all the noise is about. Learn more at metroparks.com.
Are you ready to fight to end police violence? Don't miss Keith Ellison, Minnesota Attorney General and lead prosecutor in the George Floyd case, as he speaks at Dabo's Community Empowerment Speaker Series. Ellison will address Breaking the Wheel, Ending the Cycle of Police Violence on November 8th at 6 p.m. at the Bridge Center on Grand River and Livernois. Don't miss this opportunity to hear from someone on the front lines of the fight for justice. Visit dabodetroit.eventbrite.com to get your free ticket today.
From the cotton fields of Mississippi to the highest halls of education around the United States of America, Junebug is a story of inspiration that proves that hard work and perseverance is the answer to anyone's dreams and aspirations to make them come true. Go to MississippiJunebug.net and order your copy today. Junebug, the novel by Wilson Edward Reed.
This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote.
It's for y'all. It's for y'all, Reverend Horace Sheffield in the wake-up call.
Interject with my strange way of thinking, but all of you so-called players that went broke last night trying to chase, you can come over and get that free breakfast too. Because I know you're hungry. All that alcohol you sucked up and bought, you need to come here and get something to eat, get yourself together, and be ready for Monday. Because some of y'all drunk enough to get you all the way through the weekend.
So long story short, you can come and get some of this free food. We appreciate the captain's candor and him letting us know what we can do. So far, we have talked about sports on today. For our last half an hour, we have Dr. Bagdasarian, Executive for Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. Dr. Bagdasarian?
Good morning. Thanks for having me on. And by the way, that free breakfast sounds really good.
Oh, it is. It is. It'll give you the ideas.
So again, we really appreciate you taking out time of your business schedule to come and inform us of some of the topics that are facing our community on today, COVID, flu, and also getting our health screenings for blood pressure, diabetes, and other health concerns that we're facing. And so you can start with whichever one you feel you comfortable talking about. And again, you can call us at 313-340-9507 if you have questions for our guest, Dr. Bagdasarian.
Well, thanks for having me on and letting me talk about this thing. I know everyone is tired of talking about COVID. So I won't talk about COVID. I'll just talk about winter cold and flu season because that's where we are. We are going to start to see rates go up of not only COVID but also flu and something called RSV. Now, RSV hasn't received the same amount of press as COVID and flu, but it is a real killer of especially babies. And the good news is we've got some tools this year that we have never had before. And if we use those tools, we can keep our families safe and healthy. So the new tools that I wanted to tell your listeners about is, number one, there is a vaccine for pregnant women to protect their unborn babies from RSV. And there's also a vaccine for those over the age of 60. Now, on top of the vaccine, there's also a protective antibody. We heard about protective antibodies during COVID because that's really when we started hearing about the use of these fantastic medications. But essentially what they do is they support the baby's immune system when they have not, when their immune system has not matured. And so we've got a protective antibody available for RSV as well for babies going through their first RSV season. So this is for babies under the age of 6 months. And again, it could be a real lifesaver. So lots and lots of tools out there. And then, of course, I've got to say, please get your annual COVID and flu vaccine shot. This is a great time to do it. And the two reasons to get your shot, even if you've had shots in the past, even if you got them last year, even if you've had COVID, the reason to get those vaccines now is because, number one, they boost your immune system through these cold winter months. So you have a less likely chance of getting sick and ending up in the hospital. And they also protect against the variants that are circulating right now. So really, really good time to get vaccinated in October. And I am not just talking the talk, I also walk the walk. And I got both of my shots. I made sure everyone in my family got their shots as well.
So go ahead, Ed.
Well, and it had been brought to my attention by someone in our audience, and I don't know how much credence you can put on this, Doc, but it seems that they're understanding that some seniors are having some adverse reactions to the COVID and flu vaccination. Is there anything? Is there any truth in that?
So the types of reactions that we see are people feeling sore, feeling tired, feeling run down for about 24 hours afterwards. In terms of serious outcomes, there are no serious outcomes that are anything like the types of serious outcomes we see with the actual diseases. But people can feel run down for about 24 hours after. And I always say that's a good thing, because that tells you that your body is pumping out antibodies. The vaccine is working. If you feel run down, it's not a bad thing, because your body is actually training itself to fight off these diseases in the future.
All right. So Doctor, I have a question about the RSV. And, I consider myself a decently aware, or, in terms of medical intelligence, at least for myself. How long has RSV been around? And how long has it been an issue? Because when it came on TV, they started talking about RSV. I'm like, man, what is this?
It has been around for a long, long time. So this is not a new virus. I think the reason why we started talking about it more is because this was a quiet struggle that individuals were dealing with. People lost babies. For many, many decades, people have lost babies to RSV. But it was a quiet struggle that was within the family and, the grief and what they had to deal with. Last year, we started hearing about RSV because now that we've got 3 big viruses circulating in the winter, right? We've got COVID, flu, and RSV. It really put the whole health system under strain. And that was a problem because if you're having a heart attack or if you're having a stroke, you want to make sure that you can access health care. And so when the whole health system is under strain, it's a bigger problem for communities. And that's why we started hearing more about RSV. But as a doctor, this is something that I have always dealt with and seen. The other thing is it doesn't impact younger, healthy people. So it doesn't really impact people in their 20s and 30s and 40s. It impacts babies. It impacts babies in their first year of life, and it can impact the elderly. And so, sometimes those are forgotten populations, but we can't forget about our young ones. We can't forget about our older folks. We've got to make sure everyone's protected.
All right, we're talking with Dr. Bagdasarian, Chief Medical Executive for the state of Michigan. If you have a question or brief comment, you can give us a call here at 313-340-9507. That's 313-340-9507. Let somebody know that we're on the line talking about your health and those concerns. They can tune in to 92.7 FM, 1500 AM, or they can go online to the Wake Up Call on Facebook or WVTC.com. So as we talk about some of these other concerns, blood pressures, diabetes, and these other concerns that are facing, especially the African American community, high blood pressure, diet with the holidays coming up, and things of that nature. I know it's a lifestyle, but a lot of times, we heighten our the possibility of us triggering some of those high cholesterol things during the holiday seasons, eating a lot of high salt seasonings and grease and stuff like that.
Yeah, this is a real thing, and
Ed, don't get mad at me. Ed, don't get mad at me.
This is very real. When I work in the hospital, we often see a big influx of patients after holidays, especially after Thanksgiving, which is an eating holiday. So we often see people coming in because there is salt in a lot of foods that you may not even think about. So when you are serving up that ham, there's a lot of salt in that ham. Anytime you're opening up a can of vegetables or anything canned, there tends to be more salt in there than something that is frozen. So if, for example, you're cooking something with peas or corn, I would suggest you choose the frozen version versus the canned version, because the frozen version doesn't have all that salt, but there's a lot of hidden salt. And so part of it is, watch what you're eating over the holidays. But the other really important thing is to make sure that your health is good at baseline. And those regular check-ins with your healthcare provider, those are so key. Because if your blood pressure and if your cholesterol is good, every other day of the year, one day of indulging is not going to mess it up too bad. And so that's why it's really important to have those regular check-ins with your healthcare provider so that you can make sure your blood pressure is good, so that you can see where your cholesterol is. And a lot of people are scared. They don't want to know. But it is so much better to know than to be blindsided.
Yeah, Doc, I'm glad you made that point about canned goods and whatnot, because that's a point that have always been a concern to me, and that is we are eating too much out of the can or packaged goods like the cold cuts and whatnot. That there are a lot of salts that are in those things because they're made to last longer. That's a preservative. So we need to go, as everybody, I'm saying everybody, we need to go back to the days of fresh food, fresh vegetables, fresh fruit, rather than stuff that's been processed, because those hidden salts are very dangerous. And today's point about me, because I cook a lot of pork because I grill, and today I don't put my stuff in grease. All right, so the fat is being rendered away in the process I use in cooking. That's one. And two, the seasonings that I use are not high in salt content. So it makes a difference.
Well, we definitely appreciate that. So Dr. Bactesarian, so my question also is, how do we overcome some of the objections or the obstacles that people have with regard to advocating for their own health? What I mean by that is some of some people, I was going to say some seniors, but some people, they won't ask questions when they go see their PCP or if a doctor, whatever the case is, they just listen and that's it. If you know that if there's a particular issue or ache or pain or something that you're having, how do you convey that without feeling like you're being intimidated? Because a lot of times, we feel like since the doctor's professional, they can talk over our heads or something like that. How do we have the courage to advocate for ourselves? How would you suggest that we go about doing that?
This is such a great question. Number one, Dr. B is fine. My last name is a mouthful. So Dr. B is fine. I'll start out by saying that a lot of people are intimidated, just as you said, by their doctors, and don't necessarily have the best relationship with their healthcare provider. They don't necessarily feel that person is meeting their needs. And this is real. I want you to know that this is not just in your heads. This is real. There is implicit bias, and we live in a country with systemic racism, right? So what you are experiencing is not just you. This is a real thing. And the first thing I would say is, if you have a healthcare provider who is not meeting your needs, who is talking over you, who is not listening to your concerns, who is not taking your concerns seriously, first I would try to talk to that person about it, but don't be afraid to switch healthcare providers and go see someone else.
Everybody hear that. Everybody hear that. Everybody hear that. She said, don't be afraid to change your primary care physician or your health professional. If you don't feel comfortable with them, you don't feel like they're looking out for your best interests, do that. And just let me say, from a personal standpoint, I had to do that. I felt like this particular doctor that I had, he gets rave reviews, and everybody was saying go to him, and I just had consistent horrible experiences from the front desk to sitting in the waiting room. Not even in the waiting room. What they'll do is they'll get you into a room, and I'll be sitting there for like an hour and a half without anybody coming in. I said, man, this is ridiculous. So I changed just for that. Now, I didn't dog him. I won't say his name or anything like that, but I'm just saying it wasn't a good match or a good fit for me. That was one experience. And then another experience is I had a surgery, Ed, okay? I had a very serious surgery.
Plastic?
No, at least I had a very serious surgery. And so I'll just tell, I'll be 100% transparent. So I had my big toe amputated because I have diabetes, right? So Dr. B, when I went to when they came in to prep me for surgery, the surgeon didn't come in, but one of the, I don't know if it's associate or whatever, our intern came in and said, okay, Mr. Felton, so we're going to take this toe, we're going to take this part of your heel. So Ed, I was like, hey, wait a second. I said, we supposed to be taking the toe? Like, you talking about taking my heel? He said, yes, sir, I said, no, we're not taking the heel. So one of the people that were with him, Dr. B, said, no, that's the wrong patient.
Did they give you your toe for a souvenir?
So listen, so Dr. B, I was like, really? Now, first of all, already going through changes because I got to have the surgery. Then they're going to tell me they're taking more than what they're supposed to take. So then I get to the surgery, and the actual surgeon says, whew, I just came from another surgery. I'm sorry I'm running late. So he acted as though he was in a hurry. And so all this in my mind, I said, listen, doc, if you're in a hurry, we can do this another day. we don't got to do it today because I don't want you in a hurry. So what I'm saying is I was able to articulate my concern and share with them what was going on, but it was even more heightened once, they talked about taking the wrong thing. So again, ladies and gentlemen, you all have to advocate for yourself. I might have been walking, I'm 9 toes down now. I might have been 7. So we got to make sure.
Well, you know what? And this is for Dr. B. Because at the level you're with at the state level, and a lot of that is part of it is real are the numbers. So when you're talking about diabetes and things of that nature, high blood pressure, what are the numbers for the state looking like? Are we going up? Are we going down? What's going on?
One thing I'll tell you is everything got worse during the pandemic. So there is not a single thing in terms of health that got better, really, other than for a while we had fewer traffic accidents because there were fewer people on the roads. But everything got worse. People now have fewer contacts with their healthcare provider, and we need to get back to doing that. One of the things that makes me most sad when we're talking about the numbers, I don't have the actual figures in front of me for diabetes and asthma and those things, but one of the things that really makes me sad is our vaccination rates. And our overall vaccination rates for childhood vaccines, I'm not talking COVID anymore. I'm talking polio and measles and mumps, right? Things that we have eliminated in our country because of vaccines. Kids are not getting vaccinated against those diseases. And we are seeing a historic low. This is the lowest we have been in over a decade. And it scares me because we are going to start seeing outbreaks. And if Michigan sees an outbreak of polio, if Michigan sees an outbreak of measles, people are going to get really sick. People could potentially die. And we've got these vaccines that have been around for decades. We had them when we were kids. And I hope we can get our kids vaccinated against these same diseases because there's a real threat.
So even as it relates to the vaccines, we know we have people that are part of the anti-vax movement, and I know that misinformation has a lot to do with why a lot of folks aren't getting their children vaccinated. Again, Dr. B, how do you overcome this type of misinformation? And again, we're trying to do our part here at Dabo by informing everyone and getting the right information out. But how do you overcome that? I mean, it's a level of ignorance. What I mean by ignorance, I mean by the definition in terms of not knowing, and they're just going by what somebody else is saying, and lives are being lost, or things, or even like you said, people are dying and things of that nature. So how do we do that? How do we get the right information out? How do we combat the misinformation?
Well, it's people like you today who are actually doing the work. Because a lot of times folks don't want to hear from me. They want to hear it from people who they know and trust, like you. If folks are waking up and you are their radio host every Saturday morning, then they're going to know you and they're going to trust you. And so that is why it is so important to have these conversations with people like you. So thank you for having this conversation with me today. And the other thing, when I am talking about vaccines, the other thing that I make sure I say is I am not just talking the talk. I made sure my kid is vaccinated against everything. Mm-hmm. Because I want you to know I would never ask anyone to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. Yeah, so everything from the canned goods to the standing up for yourself at the doctor's office to getting your kids vaccinated against measles and mumps and polio, all of these things are things that I make sure I'm doing in my family. And I would never tell anyone to do anything that I didn't believe in enough to do in my family.
Well, Doc, and I'm in full agreement with you. And this statement I'm saying right now goes to our listening audience. You heard it here, and quite frankly, you can check whatever resource you want to. The numbers are going up, those negative numbers. I mean, people are being affected by these things adversely. Do what you can to be not one of those numbers. In other words, whatever it takes for you to be here for as long as you can, do it. Seeing your doctor, finding a primary care if you don't have one, If the one you have ain't to your liking, find another one. Do not wait. This is not something that you can just put off and put off. This is something we need to address immediately.
And ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Ed. Ladies and gentlemen, let's also, if you don't have the capacity to articulate or advocate for yourself, find a loved one, find a friend, find a child or something like that who can advocate for you and ask the right questions. If you don't understand something, if you're not sure about a medication, or if a medication is making you feel funny or something like that, tell somebody. Don't just keep taking it and this doesn't feel right. And make sure that those things are done right. You know what I mean? Because all you have is one life, and ain't nobody gonna love you like you're gonna love yourself. Dr. B, we got about 30 seconds. You just give us some closing remarks.
Well, just real quick, I wanted to talk about that advocating for yourself. This is the most important conversation that we could possibly have. And one of the things that I do when I go in to see my doctor is I go in with a list. I actually have a written down list of the things that I want to talk to her about, and the questions that I have and the things I want her to cover. And when I am seeing patients in my clinic, I love it when they bring a list because it helps you to not forget anything. I love it when I see people there sitting and taking notes. And you said it best. Ask those questions. If you don't feel comfortable with something, ask. It is their job. It is their duty to explain things to you in a way that makes sense. And if they're not doing it, it's not on you. It's on them. They need to do a better job. So ask all the questions you want. Make those follow-up appointments. Go in with a long list. Go in with someone, an advocate or someone with you. And then the last thing I'll say is, some of the older folks out there in our communities have a lot of wisdom. They have seen a lot of things, and they've experienced a lot of things, and they know a lot of things. And you can really impact the health of some of our young ones. Just a quick story. I was in my clinic a couple days ago seeing patients.
Dr. B, I hate to cut you off, but we up against a hard break here. Can we?
Okay, go ahead.
We're gonna invite you back. My producer just told me to make sure we invite you back so you can share some more.
No worries.
Again, keep that story in mind.
We'll appreciate you.
I'll keep that story in mind. No worries.
We appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being on the show, and we'll see you next time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, put our hands together for Dr. B.
Thank you.
All right, we're coming up on a commercial break. We appreciate you coming on the next. After this break, we got Brian Berry and Reverend Pinson coming in with Manifest Wellness. They're going to be talking about domestic violence, youth violence, and conflict resolution. We'll see y'all next week, all right?
And we love you, Detroit.
Yeah. It's for y'all. It's for y'all, Reverend Horace Sheffield and the Wake Up Call.
It's the Wake Up Call with Reverend Horace Sheffield. We'll be right back on WVTC Radio Detroit.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your man Mike Epps, and I get my Saturday morning wake-up call from Reverend Sheffield. Make sure you get yours.
I'm Hester Wheeler, and I get my Saturday morning wake-up call from Reverend Horace Sheffield.
Every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. on 1500 AM or 92.7 FM. The Wake Up Call with the Reverend Horace Sheffield.
365. That's how many days there are this year. That means 365 opportunities to take in everything nature can offer. Sunshine, blue skies, walks in the woods, fishing, cycling, picnics. And where can you find all that outdoor awesomeness? Your Huron-Clinton Metro Parks, where annual passes are now on sale. They're your Metro Parks. Pick up your pass and use it all year long. Learn more at metroparks.com.
Welcome, Judge Mathis. Thanks for coming to share an important message with the Wayne County taxpayers.
Well, thank you for allowing me to help. Most of my life I was a resident of Wayne County, and so I'm here to help because Treasurer Chabris wants to work with Wayne County homeowners to keep families in their homes and prevent foreclosure.
If you're having trouble making your property tax payments, let us know. We have many resources to help.
Already in the payment plan? It's important you stay in good standing.
Making property tax payments is now easier than ever. We have placed payment kiosks in community centers across the county. We've also added kiosks in our offices. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com.
And remember, stay safe, save time, make your appointments, and payments online.
Are you ready to fight to end police violence? Don't miss Keith Ellison, Minnesota Attorney General and lead prosecutor in the George Floyd case, as he speaks at Dabo's Community Empowerment Speaker Series. Ellison will address Breaking the Wheel, Ending the Cycle of Police Violence on November 8th at 6 p.m. at the Bridge Center on Grand River and Livernois. Don't miss this opportunity to hear from someone on the front lines of the fight for justice. Visit dabodetroit.eventbrite.com to get your free ticket today.
At the Detroit Water and Sewerage Department, we're working hard to protect pipes by cleaning public sewer lines to reduce flooding and speeding up the replacement of lead service lines. Protect your pipes with 3 easy tips. Pour grease into containers, toss wipes in the trash can, and check for running toilets, leaky pipes, and dripping faucets. For more tips, go to detroitmi.gov/protect pipes. DWSD, working hard to protect pipes for you.
From the cotton fields of Mississippi to the highest halls of education around the United States of America, Junebug is a story of inspiration that proves that hard work and perseverance is the answer to anyone's dreams and aspirations to make them come true. Go to MississippiJunebug.net and order your copy today. Junebug, the novel by Wilson Edward Reed.
This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote.
Junebug.net. It's for y'all. Order your copy today. Junebug, the novel by Wilson Edward Reed.
This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote.
It's for y'all. It's for y'all. Reverend Horace Sheffield in the wake-up call.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Another month is upon us. This is the Manifest Wellness Show. Welcome back. This is your man, Brian Berry, and I got to my right, I got
Brother Kevin Scott, happy to be here.
Slow to the mic as always.
You guys know what I'm saying.
Starting off right, and to my brother, it's the illustrious.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Reverend Penson is in the house. Good morning to our listening viewers. Good morning.
Hey, fellas, it's good to see y'all, man.
Likewise. Ain't no question.
Good
to
be back. I've been waiting. I was first to the punch with my brother.
Yeah, it's okay. You know, we got to give y'all a head start every night.
Head start. Trust me. All right, now, fellas, I think this is a tough one. Well, we got some good stuff going on. We're going to talk about some real stuff as always. We got a brother coming up at 9:15 by the name of John Smith. People may know him from Grind Time Fitness. If you don't, his facility, I believe, is over on Wyoming between Curtis and 7 Mile. So on the west side of Wyoming, if I'm correct, right?
I've been there.
Yeah,
I worked out there.
Yeah, how is it?
I have enjoyed it.
The only reason I heard he be in people's ear like, roar.
I can say he's a direct coach, and he's passionate about what he does. He loves it too.
That's dope. And so, what he's going to be talking about, he has some youth initiatives. I mean, primarily for young males. So that's pretty cool. So we'll be talking about that at 9:15 hour. But over our show today, we'll be talking about domestic violence, teen violence, and proper
conflict resolution.
Yes, sir. So that's a tough one. So that's what we're going into today. So, my brother's here, Rev, you want to go ahead and kick it off where,
these several topics that we're talking about, this is a national issue that affects everybody. I mean, from all walks of life. When you're talking about youth violence, when you're talking about domestic violence, and when you're talking about conflict resolution. If someone says that these topics do not affect them, then I would ask, where are you living? Where's your existence? Where are you at mentally?
In a bubble.
And absolutely. Because once again, these topics affect us in all spectrums in life. Whether you conservative, whether you liberal, whether you financially sovereign or not, it affects you. From your children to your nieces, your nephews. It's just all walks of life. I mean, unfortunately, we turn on the news just about every day and you see some youth violence.
Mm-hmm.
And that youth violence is associated is associated with the lack of conflict resolution. We live in a sad day where we live in a day where we pick up weapons. And let me just be direct, we pick up guns to resolve conflict. That's a sad day that we live in. Usually that is done with the armed forces or law enforcement. But we as youth, young people, are picking up weapons to resolve conflict. Something is wrong with that.
Oh, something is seriously wrong with that.
And I see it so too often when I have to preside and officiate over funerals and see young people who I believe in my mind that they have gone before their time. Just because of something that is so insignificant about a conflict. He say, she say.
That gets back to
social media.
Man.
Social media. He say, she say on social media. And you can't sit down and iron that conflict out peacefully. We want to pick up guns, Brother Scott. I know you edging to get on too. We want to pick up guns and take somebody's life. Was at a funeral 2 weeks ago I had to preside over. 16 years of age. I mean, and the list can just go on and on and on and on. Just sad. Just sad.
Yeah, Pastor Prince, you make a very profound point. And just to stress this unfortunate dynamic, if we're going to address this, we have to really be transparent as a culture. People want to write a different narrative, but the reality of it is that this particular deleterious behavior, this self-inflicted genocide, if you would, of our young black men, can find its nascence, if you would, its origin, its beginning in the fact that we have been so traumatized and imbued with these negative images of what manhood is. So now we lack emotional soothing, what they call emotional dysregulation. What I mean by that is I do believe that in our curriculums, in our school curriculums, that one of the social skills, one of the life skills that must be taught to our young black men is, number one, how to identify and deal with their emotions. Because what happens, Pastor Pinson, you talked about these insignificant conflicts, these arguings over he say, she say.
Social media.
Social media, one of the greatest proliferations.
That's a
one of the
big
greatest
trigger.
proliferations
Oh my gosh.
of this behavior. Now, if I don't know how to quell my emotions, if the only emotion that I've been told that I can exhibit as a man is anger and aggression, then that's all I'm going to exhibit.
That's what I'm exhibiting.
I'm going to pick up that weapon, that gun, because that validates my manhood. Because I have not been validated in any other way. Because if I've been told that I can cry, if I can come to you and say I'm hurting, I'm disappointed, I'm frustrated, I'm angry, I'm scared, I don't have these answers, and I get the right guidance. But if I see my mans in them, if my uncle or my daddy or whoever it is that you're getting your resource and your information put into you is telling you that you go grab that thing,
that's what you're going to do,
and go handle your business. And so now we're stuck with a generation of young men who truly believe that the only option that they have when they're confronted with disappointment, obstacles, or embarrassment, because let's face it, they're in one of the most formative, influential times of their life when we're talking about that 12 to 18. They're dealing with a lot of hormonal changes. They're dealing with a lot of intellectual growth. So if they don't have the proper guidance, then they're stuck. Some of them are on their own. They're trying to figure this out by themselves.
let's take it a step up and see how, because I think now it's gotten, we talking about them young folks we're trying to reach now, so we don't, but it's just a whole generation that I don't say we lost, but now it's putting it in full effect. You heard about what happened out at LA Fitness in Warren just Thursday, right?
I was about to say Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah,
Yep.
some guys was hooping, pickup game. You probably got a foul call, got fouled too hard, and they got to whining and crying and got out, went outside and shot each other, or two people got shot. I don't know if this, if there was the people arguing, but two people got shot. No one, fortunately, no one died, but it was just right over a hoop game.
Yeah, and let's take it a little further on this. Let's take it a little further, because I don't want to just focus on the young black men. Just this past Tuesday, a cousin of mine was at a restaurant in the city of Detroit. It's a pending case, so I don't want to go no further. But had he arrived 5 minutes later, he probably would have been involved in a shootout that took place among two females.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
I was talking to somebody who works in the juvenile justice.
We're not talking about the baby shower, are we?
I didn't. Nope.
No.
Baby
Wow,
shower. They was at a restaurant.
Oh, wow.
These are two females at a restaurant, adult females.
Yes.
Get into a conflict. She pulls out a gun, and just starts shooting.
Yeah. So there's another one that happened like that with two best friends coming.
Girls.
And yeah.
Young women.
Yeah, and then the friend gets into it with her best friend. She's going to the best friend's son's baby shower, and they get into it. Pulls a gun on her, shoots and kills her best friend. Then she immediately drives to the police precinct. The son follows her, and he gets out the car, runs her over. I don't know if she died. Yeah, man, it's just it's rampant. Like it's the reactions and the responses is like, you did this to me, I'm gonna run one up to you.
I gotta get you.
Yeah, so
get you.
I was getting preparing for the show and just getting some information and just trying to because those are topics that you don't want to talk about, you should talk about, you need to know more about. But I learned something. It's we have a rash uprising in IPVs. I heard of that.
Yeah. Intimate partner violence.
There we go. Intimate partner violence, and it's been an uptick, especially in Wayne County. First it was it was a rise because you would have cases of domestic violence due to the lockdown, things like that. But now it's a situation where it's getting more cruel, and it's getting like more brother to brother, sister, like sister to sister. Just is the you touched on something. This anger. Yeah. It almost seemed like the anger comes from don't want to admit that we have
unresolved trauma.
And we have sometimes maybe a feeling of worthlessness. Well, and if I'm worthless, then like Pac said, like in that movie Juice, if I ain't ish, then you ain't ish. And when I feel like, boom, you know what I'm saying? Like,
they say hurt people.
To the fullest.
So if, again, it goes back to this unresolved, undigested, unprocessed trauma. And we can take this all back to what the term is ACE, or adverse childhood experiences. But there comes a time when we talk about this, and I was funny you mentioned this, Brother Barry, because I was doing some research this past week, and I was looking at the prevalence of this across the country.
It is. Right.
And some of these stories are.
Because it's not just a Detroit issue.
No.
It's not just a local issue.
No, it's not. It is pervasive. And when you look at some of these heinous acts of just unfathomable behavior, you ask yourself. I know back in the day, growing up, I used to always hear my grandmother say, "Where are their parents at?"
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And we have to get back to that question.
That's
Where
true.
are their parents at?
That's true.
Because
that's true.
Anytime a 13 or 14, 15 or 16-year-old
that's associated with parental neglect
can go back and say that I'm going to go get a gun to resolve this.
That's absolutely.
There was just a young boy, 11 years old, after football practice was getting bullied, ran to his mama's car, got her gun, and shot someone.
She was
I do
she was
remember
there.
that. I do
She was
remember
there.
that.
Yeah,
That
this
was
is
in the
recent.
That was
Authorized.
last month or so.
This
She
was
authorized it.
No, she didn't authorize it,
But he knew what to do.
He knew where the gun was.
Yeah.
Indirectly, she
Indirectly.
authorized it.
And we have
He
to
ran to that car.
Absolutely.
Had to probably get her keys. She know what was in that car. She know the status of his mind, what he was in. That was unauthorized. It's out of order.
It is. But here's the thing, and I always stress this again for the sake of transparency. I have 4 grandchildren, all of them girls. I call my 2 oldest my grand heathens, my 2 youngest one my grand monsters. So I always tell my daughter that you have to be very careful about the conversations you have in front of your daughters, and that goes the same way with these parents. If these kids are hearing their parents, uncles, nieces, whoever their primary caregivers are, talk about doing this and that, go get this gun, or they see them always engaged in familial conflicts, and they handle it through violence and threatening and pulling out pistols, they're going to model that. Because here's the thing, here's the African proverb: the children act the same way in the village as they do in the hut.
Absolutely. Say that again, brother. Say that again.
The children act the same way in the village,
which is so true,
as they do in the hut.
Now it's like situations folks don't even have.
We got a call coming in. Let's go ahead and pause for the calls and take this call, brothers.
Brother John Smith, are you there?
I'm here, man. What's going on?
Welcome to Manifest Wellness.
Thank you for having me, man.
Again, for our listening audience, we have a brother here who's doing good in the hood, as we always like to promote, to let you all know about. His name is John Smith. He's Grind Time Fitness, and let's tell our listening audience more about what's going on, brother.
So yeah, man. So I own a gym in the city called Grind Time Fitness. It's on Detroit's northwest side. I've been in business for going on 10 years now. I started my gym outside in the park and grew it to over 400 members from just one person. The premise of what I do is not just training a person physically, but I believe that everything that we are starts in our minds first. So, I feel like before a person becomes physically fit, they have to, work on the mental first.
Okay.
And let me just say this, Brother John, this is Pastor Penson, man. I've been at your facility with Latricia Blackman. Brother, you doing some phenomenal work over there. You haven't seen me in a couple of months, but I'm still in it. I'm gonna get back with you, but this brother, my fellas over here, my co-host over here, he's doing a phenomenal work. I mean, he's working with the mind, the body, and the soul. So I commend him and I endorse his situation right there on Wyoming, right in the neighborhood.
Absolutely. Brother John Smith, my name is Brother Kevin Scott. I'm a member of the greatest fraternity on the planet, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Just want to give you a mad shout out because I had a dear friend of mine for 50 years. He passed. His name was John Smith, so I know that with that name that you have, I know you're doing remarkable work because he was a remarkable champion. You make a very great point about your approach that is just not the physical aspect. In essence, you're talking about holistic
absolutely
platforms, and I think that it is imperative that we address it from that perspective, because when we talk about the congruency of physical and socio-emotional wellness, you have to touch all those parts. You have to touch the mental, you have to touch the social, you have to touch the spiritual, and you have to touch the physical. So I commend you on having that particular platform and having the bandwidth to understand that you cannot, it makes no sense to be physically fit when you're emotionally unstable or spiritually unstable.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Absolutely, man. I know so many people who got six-pack abs, but still emotionally out of shape.
Absolutely.
I know women who got the body, got, all of that, got the face, they look good, but on the inside, they out of shape. And my thing is, what's the point in going to the gym, and doing all of this working out if you leave and you still are out of shape in different ways, right? Especially with the pandemic. The pandemic now that we are kind of coming through it post-pandemic, now we see that there's another pandemic of mental instability. And I think we see that with the rise in crime, the rise in domestic violence cases, the rise in mass shootings. People are mentally out of shape. And I believe it's a lot to do with the fact that people are still grieving, people that they lost in the pandemic. See, the pandemic might be over for some, but the losses are still there, especially with the holidays approaching. This is a rough time for people now that there are a lot of empty seats at the dinner table. You know, come Christmas time, come Thanksgiving. And if a person is not able to handle their mental pressure, what ends up happening is it's almost like you ever shook up a bottle of pop before?
Yep.
And tried to open it?
Well, is it? Yep.
Explode.
That's what happens when people mishandle their pressure.
That's true.
You know, you got work stress, you got family stress, you got kids, you dealing with grief, you got anxiety, you got money challenges now with the rise in inflation. You know, it's a lot that people are going through, and you know, it's just one thing that can send you over the edge. And we don't know how a person can just so easily trip out. It's because they mentally out of shape, man.
Now, that brings me into, we're going through your site and talking about things that you do. And this is what we're talking about now. You can go on grindtimefitnessllc.com, and he talks about a lot of that on his site. You can sign up, find out more about classes. But on your site, you talk about the Mentality Youth Development class, right? That's one of the highlights we wanted you to, wanted you here on the show to let the community know about. So I know it's on your site, but tell us about that. Let the folks know, because you kind of touched on those things.
Right. So I have a 12-year-old son, and one thing that we do, which we've done pretty much all his life, is we work out together, right? But while I'm working out with him, I'm speaking life into him, as well as giving that fatherly advice. You know what I'm saying? Teaching him about how to deal with his pressure. And 2 years ago, the Lord laid this on my heart to start a group for young men, ages 8 to 17. And I put the age group of 8 to 17 because I feel like, we feel like young men don't deal with anything when they're 8, 9, 10. And if you go down to the hospital, the children's hospital, dude, you wouldn't even believe that there are kids that are like 6, 7 trying to take their own lives.
No, we do believe that. We
You'll leave the
definitely
hospital
believe
in
that.
tears. But the truth is, that's what's happening. It's not it's happening to our young people, and especially our black boys. You guys, as black men, know that it's hard being a black man. And it don't start when you're 18. It starts when you're like 8, 9 years old, because you're trying to process so many things in this world. So what I did was I started the class just for them, and it's beautiful because these are boys that look like us, and I see myself in so many of them. But all we do is we train them, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally. I talked to them the other day about how to handle their anger, right? Because it's not if you get angry, it's when you get angry. You know what I'm saying? So I talked to them about how to breathe and not make a abrupt decision impulsively, right? But it's not just for the 8-year-olds all the way up to the 17-year-olds, because those are the kids that's about to go to college. You know what I mean? We work them out, we train them, and we give them somewhere to put that testosterone that's building up in them. Schools will label our kids bad so easily, especially our black boys, when it's not that they're bad. It's just boys are not designed to sit in classrooms for 8 hours a day and do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, they need something to keep them active, especially if they don't play sports, and they might just be video game kids. No, dog. Well, we got to get our kids moving. So mentality is MEN mentality, and it's all for our young men, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
So with your program now, a lot, you could possibly tie, not always, but you can tie some socioeconomic deficiency to sometimes some of these young folks' behaviors. Now, I'm saying, as far as your class, do you work with, things cost, you got to keep the lights on, you got to, you have to contribute to keep things going. How do you work with young people who may be in a situation where cost is an issue, cost is a barrier?
Well, once I introduced this class, I had some members and some people in the community who just wanted to sponsor a child. It's not expensive. It's a little over $8 class. It's $70 a month. And my thing is, as parents, we buy our kids shoes and video games and food they don't need. That's why they out of shape in the first place. So, you know, if you can't invest $70 or $8 a class in your child, you're the problem. So, yeah.
I'm gonna if I can go back real quick. Brother Smith, you made a very interesting point. I want to go back to when you talk about how you speaking to your son and how you speak. You address issues that he may have, and you mentioned the point about it's not what you're going to do if you get mad, but when you get mad. So you talk about, you know, regulating his anger. And I commend you for that, because I also designed a male mentoring platform back in the day in 2014. It was deemed one of the best practices in the country. And one of the mantras in my male mentoring component was I stressed the need for being able to teach our young men de-verbal escalation. And that is exactly what you're speaking about when you tell your son how to be able to articulate the physiological changes that take place in one's body when they become angry. Your heart starts racing. You know, you may begin to sweat. Your chest may tighten. You may clench your fists. You know, and not understanding that those are warning signs that you need to start self-soothing and using your de-escalation, your verbal your internal positive self-talk to bring yourself down, to lower your temperature. And I think this is a skill set that must be taught to these children in school. I think that these skill sets must be taught as a life skill, because we see what happens when these unregulated interventions do not take place at, you said, at the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, or when they're 6, 7, and 8 years old. They carry this with them to their 16, 17, 18, 28, 39, 40, and 50. And when it is not addressed, that's why we have these angry men. And we're talking about
and sisters.
Yep. Exactly. And that we have these horrific domestic violence encounters. These horrific teen violence encounters. So I commend you for that. And what you're talking about, in essence, what you're doing, you have to have, when you said these our young black males are not designed to sit that long, we have to have positive stress releasers for them. We have to have these positive conduits for them to release, get these good endorphins that exercise releases for you, because we feel good. I know I'm about to go work out when I leave here, go get my 4 miles in, and then go hit the gym. You just feel good after that. And when you incorporate that into your lifestyle, it makes a world of difference. So I thank you, Brother Smith.
And also, Brother John, man, can you speak to our listening viewers of how important it is? I know you spoke to it a little bit earlier, because I know your curriculum, because like I say, I've been there. Can you speak to them how important it is for you and how your curriculum is centered upon a faith component within your curriculum?
So, funny story is, this whole thing was prophesied over my life. I don't know if y'all ever heard of this man named Prophet Ty Hall.
Yes, sir.
But he came to my church, and I was a police officer at the time. And he came to my church, and he stopped in the middle of his sermon, and he said, "Young man, I don't know who you are or what you do with the bulletproof vest." He said, "But God gonna separate you from that, because if you stay in that, you're gonna die." He said, "It's like you got shot on duty," and this guy I ain't never known this man from Adam at the time, right? He said, it's like you caught 3, your partner caught 4, but you were the one that died. He said, God want to separate you from that to start this fitness center thing. He said, you're going to become a rich man doing it. You're going to bless the lives of young men. And he said, then you're going to go on to do some other music things around the world. But it's just so funny, because everything that I stand on is from a word from God, literally. All of this is a prophecy that's manifested in my life since that day. And again, this is 10 years ago, which made me start the gym. I ain't had no money. I didn't know how to train people. I didn't have no clients, and there was one lady in the church at the time, came up to me after church, was like, well, can you train me? And I'm like, I don't know, I guess. So, we started, and I started learning everything I could about
John,
the human body.
hold that thought one more time. You could just stay on the line. We got to go to a commercial break. Listeners, dial in 313-340-9507. That's 313-340-9507. We got Brother John from Grind Time on the line on today as we are talking about domestic violence, conflict resolution, and youth violence. Dial in 313-340-9507 as we go to a commercial break.
It's for y'all. It's for y'all. Reverend Horace Sheffield in the wake-up call.
Reverend Horace Sheffield is live, and it's the wake-up call on WVTC Radio Detroit.
Welcome, Judge Mathis. Thanks for coming to share an important message with the Wayne County taxpayers.
Well, thank you for allowing me to help. You know, most of my life I was a resident of Wayne County, and so I'm here to help because Treasurer Shabri wants to work with Wayne County homeowners to keep families in their homes and prevent foreclosure.
If you're having trouble making your property tax payments, let us know. We have many resources to help.
Already in a payment plan? It's important you stay in good standing.
Making property tax payments is now easier than ever. We have placed payment kiosks in community centers across the county. We've also added kiosks in our offices. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com.
And remember, stay safe, save time, make your appointments and payments online.
Are you ready to fight to end police violence? Don't miss Keith Ellison, Minnesota Attorney General and lead prosecutor in the George Floyd case, as he speaks at Dabo's Community Empowerment Speaker Series. Ellison will address Breaking the Wheel, Ending the Cycle of Police Violence on November 8th at 6 p.m. at the Bridge Center on Grand River and Livernois. Don't miss this opportunity to hear from someone on the front lines of the fight for justice. Visit DaboDetroit.eventbrite.com to get your free ticket today.
This is Super Bowl champion Lomas Brown, and I get my Saturday morning wake-up call from Reverend Horace Sheffield, my man.
This is Grover McCains, and I get my wake-up call from Reverend Horace Sheffield every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. on 1500 a.m. or 92.7 FM. The wake-up call with the Reverend Horace Sheffield. See you there.
Here's the thing about golf. If you like golf, you love golf. And if you love golf, you love it a lot. Like a lot. And when the weather is even the slightest bit accommodating, you grab your clubs and head to your Huron Clinton Metro Parks. Because 7 regulation courses is a lot to love. Like a lot. They're your Metro Parks. Come to play and bring your clubs. Learn more at metroparks.com.
At the Detroit Water and Sewerage Department, we're working hard to protect pipes by cleaning public sewer lines to reduce flooding and speeding up the replacement of lead service lines. Protect your pipes with 3 easy tips. Pour grease into containers, toss wipes in the trash can, and check for running toilets, leaky pipes, and dripping faucets. For more tips, go to detroitmi.gov/protect pipes. DWSD, working hard to protect pipes for you.
Hi, I'm Stacy Reeves, General Supervisor for DTE. As part of our plan to make your power more reliable, we're installing new smart technology. When it's up and running, our smart grid will have fewer and shorter power interruptions. Our crews are out every day doing everything in their power to deliver the reliability you deserve. DTE.
From the cotton fields of Mississippi to the highest halls of education around the United States of America, Junebug is a story of inspiration that proves that hard work and perseverance is the answer to anyone's dreams and aspirations to make them come true. Go to MississippiJunebug.net and order your copy today. Junebug, the novel by Wilson Edward Reed.
This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote.
It's for y'all. It's for y'all, Reverend Horace Sheffield in the wake-up call.
Women Gadney, just want to make a comment, and it's very important how you involve your children. Children look at us as adults, and we're supposed to be in control. Long story short, many, many years ago, family member had a 2-year-old son, not even 2.5 years old, and they observed their mother, someone was getting ready to pull the mother's hair and possibly attack her. That did not happen, but the child proceeded, and the child, as a 2-year-old, less than 2.5-year-old, attempted to attack
the attacker.
Yeah, so you need to see how your child is and what type of personality they have, because children want to protect their parents, and in many instances, they get hurt and other people get hurt. Then on a personal issue, when I was 10 years old, I was telling some people a few minutes ago, I grew up in a very godly home. Someone attacked me, gave me a bloody nose, and what did I do as a 10-year-old, and I'm 73 now? I got my little gang together, and they went to this person's house. I got some little boys in the neighborhood. I was 10. I'm an introvert, totally out of character for me. So, you know.
So what you're saying is don't mess with you? That's what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Started off at 10.
And if it had been today, in 2023,
63 years later,
I'll be locked up.
See, so you said.
But then my 94-year-old mother would have came and, you know, she would, no, you ain't touching her.
Well, thank you for your comment.
Brother John, we still have you on the line. We know you got to exit. You got any final thoughts before we exit? Brother John, you still there?
Yeah, he's probably, Brother John he said he had to. Okay, cool. Okay, all right.
You got any final thoughts before we exit our conversation with you, brother? It's been such a blessing to have you on this line. But any final thoughts before we exit the conversation with you? We know you got another engagement.
Well, you know what? I just appreciate you guys having me on. I think what you guys are doing is much needed. And, let's just keep raising the bar in our communities because that's what's needed.
And Brother John, can you give us the address and give us the contact information, because you have some listeners who would like to participate in your program, or got a son, or got a daughter, or themselves. So can you provide us with your information?
For sure. The best way to sign them up or sign yourself up is to go to grindtimefitnessllc.com, GRINDTIME Fitness LLC.com. And like I said, we're located right off of Wyoming and Pickford, 18451 Wyoming. It's right in Detroit on the northwest side. You can't miss it.
Yep. John, can continue with the great work that you're doing. Blessings upon you, and I'll see you soon, my brother. Bless you.
Yes, sir.
Once again, dollars dial in, call in 313-340-9507. That's 313-340-9507. Just during our break, we was just having some conversation among my co-hosts, and we were talking about really impulses, Brother Scott. And I think you had something to say. You was talking about impulse as it relate to this conflict resolution. How we
Absolutely. When we talk about, you and I were just having this brief banter back and forth during the break, and I do a lot of mentoring for young men. I still, to this day, I mentor young men who are justice involved. And I tell them all the time that, and even for myself, I had to check myself this past week about my response to an incident. And, we have to continuously understand that impulse responses, as you indicated. But what I tell these young men is that 2 to 5 minutes can change your life exponentially.
Say that again, Brother Scott, because when you said that, I started thinking about that, and I'm like, that's powerful.
2 to 5 minutes can change your life exponentially. Now let's again
that down, yeah.
for the sake of being transparent. Now you take the three of us sitting up here, okay? We may be out driving or whatever, a restaurant, with our family or whatever, and we run into an encounter where somebody either cuts us off or says something inappropriately or appears to have some type of aggressive or very disrespectful behavior towards us individually or those that we're with.
Mm-hmm.
Now, our immediate response is to engage, perhaps to engage, but there's something about our self-control, our emotional regulation, opposed to our emotional dysregulation that causes us, we may want to respond. We may even legally have a carry conceal, but we don't go there because we understand what comes with that response. We understand that there are people who are dependent on us, wives, children, mothers, fathers, cousins, brothers and sisters. So we look in that very truncated moment in time, we can process that because we understand. But what about the person who does not have that emotional control, who does not have that due diligence, who does not understand that if I go into my pocket, pull out this weapon, whether it be male or female, because we see that our females are engaged in this behavior as well.
Absolutely.
If I do not do that, if I don't stop myself, because I tell you right now, it's better I'd rather be an alive coward than a dead hero.
Say that again.
I tell my son this all the time.
I speak that all the time.
I tell my son all the time. And he's 27, just turned 27. I said, man, you would rather be a live coward than a dead hero.
Brothers, what I'll say here, but you got you're saying it on a micro level, and you said you're supposed to be that way in the hut. But if every hut ain't like that, then what are we to do? It's like and I'm just trying to get the other side of the coin.
I understand.
Right? You got every form of music is right now is
promoting.
Is showing a lack of love or empathy, whether it's the R&B and it gets down to a bass and guttural level, or if it's some of the rap. But you got some of the classic ones saying hip hop rap is dead because of that same thing. The resolution is real simple. You a op and I'm gonna bust your head.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then I'm gonna reinforce it because I'm gonna go play Call of Duty and I'm gonna reinforce your responsibility because I'm gonna sit on this game all day and I'm not making no money off the game. I'm just on the game and I'm getting subliminally these seeds planted into me that I know what every kind of gun is and what they do, and now I want to put it in real action because I can't get no fries.
Then we got.
So now I want to bust your head.
Yeah, and then we got reality TV that is displaying that it's okay to just get into physical combat.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Everything right, and so like you say, the ladies not exempt. I had to not ban it, but really kind of show my opposition towards these reality wife TV shows because they get pumped up to do just that, to be on an emotional tip, always on edge, ready to throw a drink or a swing, and then you see all that extra tension. They leaving you with that, you getting that environmental trauma, you don't even know, and it's just all in your face, and you just bringing that into the house. Like, so how do you know what I'm saying? Is the total opposite of what you're trying to instill is being reinforced as a marketing person. Is being reinforced in so many ways, just to us. It's like if you go outside this bubble, it ain't like that. Go across 8 Mile, you don't see the same type of advertisement. You know what I'm saying? You just see, and not saying one is better than the other, but it's how do you actually defeat this? Because I instill into my daughter all the time, and that's what you have. But, I can't control what she sees out in the world and how that influences. I can only try to help her decompress and, understand it better. So, she's going through it with a level head and being uninfluenced. I mean, maybe I'm answering my own question, but it seems daunting.
I mean, and there's so many other platforms that are counteracting that. I mean, like, we have this platform, you got mentorship platforms that is counteracting the messages that is being promoted on social media or being promoted just in reality of life. You got the educational school system. I mean, going from K through 8. You got programs that are in these schools outside of the academic program. You got programs that are in these schools that are teaching our young, our scholars, how important it is to deal with conflict resolution. It has to be reinforced at home first.
So we're going to pause right there. We all at our last segment here. Call in 313-340-9507. It's the Manifest Wellness Show.
It's for y'all. It's for y'all, Reverend Horace Sheffield. For y'all. It's for y'all, Reverend Horace Sheffield, and the wake-up call.
Reverend Horace Sheffield is live, and it's the wake-up call on WVTC Radio Detroit.
Peace and quiet. Whoever you are, sooner or later, you're going to need some. If only there was a beautiful place just minutes from where you live, where you'll find a perfect little piece of peace and quiet. Turns out there is. Your Huron-Clinton Metro Parks. With 25,000 acres, there's plenty of peace and quiet to go around. They're your Metro Parks. Come see what all the noise is about. Learn more at metroparks.com.
Hi, I'm Stacy Reeves, General Supervisor for DTE. As part of our plan to make your power more reliable, we're installing new smart technology. When it's up and running, our smart grid will have fewer and shorter power interruptions. Our crews are out every day doing everything in their power to deliver the reliability you deserve. DTE.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's your girl, Randy Rosario, comedian and TV host. I get my Saturday wake-up call with my guy, Reverend Horace Sheffield. Think about it. Good day.
I'm Sheriff Raphael Washington, Wayne County, and I get my Saturday morning wake-up every Saturday morning from Reverend Horace Sheffield, and you should too.
Every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. on 1500 AM or 92.7 FM. The wake-up call to the Reverend Horace Sheffield.
Are you ready to fight to end police violence? Don't miss Keith Ellison, Minnesota Attorney General and lead prosecutor in the George Floyd case, as he speaks at Dabo's Community Empowerment Speaker Series. Ellison will address Breaking the Wheel, Ending the Cycle of Police Violence on November 8th at 6 p.m. at the Bridge Center on Grand River and Livernois. Don't miss this opportunity to hear from someone on the front lines of the fight for justice. Visit DaboDetroit.eventbrite.com to get your free ticket today.
Welcome, Judge Mathis. Thanks for coming to share an important message with the Wayne County taxpayers.
Well, thank you for allowing me to help. You know, most of my life I was a resident of Wayne County, and so I'm here to help because Treasurer Chabris wants to work with Wayne County homeowners to keep families in their homes and prevent foreclosure.
If you're having trouble making your property tax payments, let us know. We have many resources to help.
Already in the payment plan? It's important you stay in good standing.
Making property tax payments is now easier than ever. We have placed payment kiosks in community centers across the county. We've also added kiosks in our offices. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com.
And remember, stay safe, save time, make your appointments and payments online.
The Detroit Water and Sewerage Department is looking for motivated Detroiters to be a part of our team. We have opportunities for field services technicians, engineers, and customer service specialists with competitive pay and benefits. Make a real difference with the work you do every day. Join other Detroiters who are taking part protecting the pipes where we live, work, and play. Learn more and apply at detroitmi.gov/jobs. DWSD, working hard for you.
From the cotton fields of Mississippi to the highest halls of education around the United States of America, Junebug is a story of inspiration that proves that hard work and perseverance is the answer to anyone's dreams and aspirations to make them come true. Go to MississippiJunebug.net and order your copy today. Junebug, the novel by Wilson Edward Reed.
This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote.
It's for y'all. It's for y'all, Reverend Horace Sheffield in the wake-up call.
I was about to call you. I was about to call you her.
Minister, we got Minister on the line. Reverend Princeton is still on the line.
Yeah, I was about to call him.
It's all good.
I paused.
We still
I'm
serving.
do some push up for that. I'm gonna do some push up for that.
We servants of the Lord. It don't bother me. I know who I am.
You want to introduce her?
We have on this call. We have Minister Lisa Goss. Minister Lisa Goss, are you still on the line?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Thank you for this conversation. Not only am I a minister, but I'm also a licensed professional therapist.
Okay.
And so I wanted to bring that in, that one of the things that I believe has to happen is that our children and adults need to know that our responses to conflict influences the outcome greatly, that there is a cost to how we respond. And I believe that's what needs to be instilled, from home, someone said, the church and mentoring programs, because of these shows that we have on TV and all of this fantasy, that our children believe that there are no consequences to our behaviors. And so even there are consequences to not managing our emotions as well, need to be taught. We need to be taught that it's okay that we have emotions. We get emotional about having emotions. We get emotional about being emotional, where we are human beings and we are going to have emotions. So it's time for us to be able to tell our children it's okay, but let's work this out. And then one more thing, another thing that I do in my office is I help people to understand how their bodies alert them. Our bodies will alert us that something is wrong, and beginning to understand what happens when I'm becoming angry. Does my stomach hurt? Does my hand sweat? And it gives us time to walk away or process what we're feeling so that we don't respond to what's going on around us and end up, like you said, in jail or dead.
And you're absolutely right, because we got so many people who are incarcerated right now, and I believe, Minister, you would concur with this, my brothers would concur with this, are living with regrets.
Yes.
Because of an impulse decision that they made, a split second that they made, and that split second decision then cost them 10, 15, 20, or maybe life in prison just because of a split second decision.
I almost lost a scholarship to boarding school in high school. Like, I worked so hard to get it, hung out with some cats, and did something I know I shouldn't do. And something, you get that voice to tell you, don't do it, B, don't do it, B. Yeah. But I was like, you know what? I ain't listening to you right now.
It's funny, though.
In less than, would you say, 4 or 5 minutes?
Like he said.
It's funny because, Minister Goss, you make an excellent point that this lack of this emotional dysregulation and this lack of self-control, you're right, there are consequences. And I tell people when they make these bad decisions afterwards, we may be a very diverse population, but after this bad decision, we all become Irish. And somebody asked me, what do you mean we become Irish? I said, because after you do it, you be like, I wish I didn't do that. I wish I didn't do this.
You know what?
So we all become Irish.
Irish, I got you. I like that one.
I'd have been Irish a whole bunch of times.
I have too.
And I have to.
That's my testimony.
I have to. And so thank you for this conversation. One of the things that I noticed, in my clients, that most of the time I'm sitting with children in adult bodies.
Absolutely.
Because they have never addressed their emotions.
It is, I think that is probably, in the dichotomy of your statement, I just want to just push that a little bit further. Not only do you said you're looking at adults or in child's bodies, but you also have children with adults' bodies.
Yeah, that's what I said, children.
Children with adult
bodies.
And conversely, you have
The opposite.
Adults in child's bodies.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm talking to an adult, but the little
Absolutely.
girl in them
Absolutely.
and
We
the
hear what
little
you're
boy in them have never addressed their regrets
Absolutely.
or learned how to deal with their emotions.
Absolutely. It is so funny you said it because one of the books, I have read a book by T.D. Jakes, and one of the quotes in that book was that in every man is the little boy that preceded him.
I read that one.
And I have never forgotten. You're so right, because when you don't deal with that, with those stages of growth, that maturation process,
Yes.
you still have. I was just in a training yesterday up in Lansing, and it was the title was "How to Deal with Your Self-Esteem." And there was a young woman who stood up. Now she was well into her 60s, and she was talking about they were called limiting beliefs that limit you or what you think. So she thought she was ugly, and she said she held that belief since she was about 7 or 8 years old. So here's a woman who carried that around for close to 45, 50 some years. You know, so you're absolutely right. When you don't deal with that, you carry that well into your adulthood.
I think we all do. You know, we all. I mean, it does. God said at some point you have to be childlike. So that child is still there. It's just, do we have the adult in us to nurture that child to make sure, you know, because there are going to be some things that you get pure exuberance out of that because it was in your childhood.
Absolutely.
You know, so it's like it's in one point that person needs to be. There's different people that make you into the man you are. Bad or good, they need to be there for some reason. We just got to figure out how we can stabilize it all, or resolve it all. Or like I know at one point, one of the brothers up here said one time that you needed to talk to your pops, and you had to get that done. You had done things that most men, so we can't never question you. That then manly man, but that part of you needed to get that wholeness back. Is that am I overstepping my saying?
No. It's funny you mentioned it, but I going back, that's part of it. When you have those missing pieces, as we call it, when you have those missing pieces, Minister Goss, you talked about it. Spot on. That when you don't have, if you feel that you're less than, or you're dealing with whatever it was. I know. Positive affirmations. A lot of these adults are from childhood because they miss those affirmations, and those validations are very problematic. That's why you see women in these very unhealthy relationships, because they need that validation. They need those affirmations that maybe they didn't get from the father in the life, or lack of a father, and things like that.
Yeah,
man.
That's we were told as young girls that marriage was the pinnacle.
Absolutely.
It's the pinnacle of life. And so we grew up believing it's the pinnacle of life, but nobody ever told us that it's okay if you never get married, that you still have worth, that you are still important, that you can still be great, you can still be educated. No one told us that. So now we have the crabs in the barrel, fighting and accepting anything to be married, to be in a relationship.
Thank you. Sorry not to interrupt you, but sorry, we got about 60 seconds. Thank you for your contribution of the show. Blessings upon you and the work that you do to enhance our community. We appreciate you.
Keep listening and call back. You always welcome.
Absolutely.
Here.
And before we leave, brothers, we have to share this resource. We have Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network offer free counseling. Free counseling. Let me say this again. Free counseling. Free counseling. The number is 1-800-241-4949. That's 1-800-241-4949. Mental health is so important. It's okay to contact somebody. Brother Scott, you want to share something too?
Yes, and for those of you, if you want to come out to, of course, the D9, the Divine Nine, that's having a trunk or treat from 4 to 7 p.m. today at Hope United Methodist Church, located at 26275 Northwestern Highway in Southfield. Come on, hang out with the D9.
See you next month.
See you next month.
It's time. It's time for the wake-up call, y'all. Come on. Come on.
You've been listening to The Wake Up Call with Reverend Horace Sheffield and friends. Tune in again next week from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on the WVTC Detroit Radio Network.
He's on the line. This is knowledge and power for every mankind. For every generation that's in these streets. We making sure you ain't walking in your sleep. We're in your town, your city and community, promoting good health, wealth, and unity. We educating everybody, y'all. Reverend Horace Sheffield, the wake-up call. It's for y'all. It's for y'all. Reverend Horace Sheffield, the wake-up call. It's for y'all. It's for y'all. Reverend Horace Sheffield, and the wake-up call.
The views and opinions expressed on the previous broadcast are those of the authors and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of WVTC Radio Detroit, its advertisers, or affiliates.
We are WVTC. What is Detroit Gospel Internet Radio? What it is? We're gospel music, preaching, teaching, encouraging. What it is? All up in what it is. The community. What it is? WVTC. In your neighborhood, it's what we do. What it is. Here's just one of the fine programs right here on WVTC Detroit. Hey, are you in need of a jingle, a commercial, or have you considered a podcast for your business or ministry? If so, let WVTC Radio Detroit be your choice. And guess what? Location is not a problem. We can pick you up and broadcast you from anywhere. For more information, please go to our website at WVTCDetroit.com or drop us an email at WVTCRadioDetroit@gmail.com. We're waiting to hear from you. Here's just one of the fine programs right here on WVTC Detroit. Go to your Apple or Google Play Store and download the WVTC Gospel Radio app today. You can also say, Alexa, play WVTC Radio Skills.
Would you like to play WVTC Radio Network?
Absolutely. Download it today.
You're listening to WVTC Gospel Radio Detroit, and we're flowing in the Spirit.